Before we talk about fix and flex, we should look at the relevant syllabus, as shown on this slide. So we need to be able to fix and flex the 6 aspects of a project in an agile context. We need to set the tolerances for the 6 PRINCE2 aspects of a project in an agile context, taking into account the rationale behind the 5 targets, which we'll talk about soon. And you'll notice that the 6 aspects are listed as quality, scope, and then time, cost, benefit and risk together. So there's a focus particularly on quality and scope. In PRINCE2, we refer to the 6 aspects of a project that we wish to control: time, cost, quality, scope, risk and benefits. PRINCE2 Agile refers to these as the hexagon. They're the same 6 aspects. It's just, rather than referring to 6 aspects, they refer to the hexagon. But it's the same 6 things: time, cost, quality, scope, risk and benefits. And if anything, these are even more important in PRINCE2 Agile than they are in PRINCE2. We'll now talk about the 6 aspects represented by the hexagon and which of those we need to fix and which of those we may flex. And as you can see from the diagram here, at the top we have time and cost, and next to those we have don't flex. And if you think about Scrum, that's how Scrum works. So Scrum has a sprint, and the sprint is a fixed amount of time. Time is fixed for a fixed amount of cost. Cost is fixed, and typically that's effort. So you have the development team. Within Scrum, it's a number of people, say maybe 6 people. They've got 4 weeks. So time and cost is fixed, and we flex the other aspects. In the middle, we've got benefits and risk that we may flex. And then at the bottom, we have quality and scope, which we will flex. And if you think back to the syllabus, and I said that the syllabus places more emphasis on scope and quality, you can see now why. It's because they're the elements that we look to flex. So as I said, if we were using Scrum for product delivery, the time and cost would be fixed for a given sprint. So we'd have a sprint backlog, which would form our scope, and we would try and deliver as much of the sprint backlog as we could, but that would be flexible. We would flex that. We might not deliver all of the sprint backlog. Another point to make on the hexagon, when we're talking about the 6 aspects and whether we fix them or flex them, we're really talking about the tolerances. So from a time and cost point of view, we're really saying there is no tolerance because we fixed them. So if the time period for a sprint is 4 weeks, there is no tolerance on that. It finishes off after 4 weeks. If we don't, then we're in an exception. The same for cost. As I said before, scope could have quite a large tolerance. So we might have a sprint backlog with, say, a dozen items in. The tolerance might be 6 items. It could be quite big. For quality and benefits, we may have normal amounts of tolerance, but certainly some tolerance in there. I should specifically mention risk. Some people who work in purely agile environments believe that agile removes risk. Perhaps because the things that are uncertain are supposed to be uncertain, i.e. how many products off the sprint backlog you're actually going to deliver in a sprint is uncertain. It's designed that way, so they don't view it as risk. But there's still uncertainty within agile projects that aren't built in. So in a simple example, if you've got 6 people on your development team and you're doing a 4-week sprint, there's still the risk that one of your developers is unavailable. They're sick. They leave. So using Agile can't remove risk altogether. And as we know, risk can be both positive and negative, so we can have risk opportunities and risk threats. So we do need to manage risk just as we would on any other PRINCE2 project, but be aware of the inherent uncertainties that exist in an Agile. So in summary, when it comes to the 6 aspects represented in the hexagon, we generally in an Agile environment won't flex the time and cost. We'll fix those. But risk, benefits, quality and scope, we can flex. So when we're talking about fixing or flexing the 6 aspects, we're really talking about how much tolerance we provide on each of the 6 aspects. And this next slide gives some guidance on that tolerance. And as you can see, PRINCE2 Agile suggests there should be 0 tolerance on time and costs at all levels of plan. When it comes to quality, at both the product description level and the product descriptions for the sub-products, it's suggesting a differentiation between essential criteria and desirable criteria, and saying there should be 0 tolerance on essential criteria, but there may be tolerance on desirable criteria. And I think that's fairly common for any PRINCE2 project really, Agile or otherwise. And in a similar way for scope, we can differentiate between products that are essential and products that are desirable. And we can use the work breakdown structure to identify these. And we can flex on those desirable products. And again, that's quite common on all PRINCE2 projects, not just Agile projects. With regard to risk, PRINCE2 Agile doesn't really provide any guidance beyond standard PRINCE2. It's simply saying here that it's as required by the project board and the project manager. And of course, PRINCE2 provides tolerances on risk. As I said before, I think the key thing is to recognise those risks which are areas of uncertainty which are intrinsic within an Agile environment. Now, how you deal with those is up to you as a project manager. You may choose to leave those off your risk register, or you may choose to simply place them in perhaps an Agile category on the risk register. So you're showing that you're aware of them, you're showing that you're managing them. Perhaps the way you're managing those areas of uncertainty is through the use of Scrum or Kanban or other Agile methodologies. With regard to benefits, PRINCE2 Agile suggests 0 tolerance for the level of benefit that's defined as a minimum viable product in the business case, and then tolerance can be used for benefits above and beyond that. So in summary, for the 6 aspects that we want to control on a project, the difference between a PRINCE2 Agile project and any other project is simply that on an Agile project we will fix the time and the cost, and only quality, scope, risk and benefits can be flexed. Only quality, scope, risk and benefits have tolerances. Other than that, it's fairly standard as we would do any PRINCE2 project. So one last point about this slide. So it's titled Tolerance Guidance, and the guidance is that you fix time and cost. But we made a point previously that Agile isn't about yes or no, it's about how much. And this is a way, not the way. So if for your project you, for instance, just wanted to fix time but have tolerance on cost, would that mean it wasn't an Agile project? Well, no, because it isn't about yes and no, it's about how much. So you're looking at the guidance but applying it and tailoring it as it is applicable to your project. So it may be that the customer is prepared to have tolerance on cost. It may be that the customer is prepared to have tolerance on time at some level of plan. That doesn't necessarily mean it flows all the way down. So at the project plan level, there may be tolerance on time and cost. When you come down to a stage plan, you may have less or no tolerance on time and cost. When you go down to a delivery plans, or if you're using Scrum, sprints, there may be no tolerance on time and cost for a particular sprint. So again, it's not yes and no, it's how much, and this is a suggestion, it's not the only way.